Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber, and this guy's story. This story is definitely going to show you a perfect example of how the saying, "Women hold the keys to the bedroom, men hold the keys to relationships." And you're going to see in this story, guys, how this guy who's writing in the story, he was with his girlfriend for a number of years. He definitely was, in his words, in love with her and was going to obviously marry her one day. But she was a bit of a effeminist. And one evening, amongst many friends, she said something incredibly insulting and rude towards him that really opened up his eyes about her true character, because she really kept things toned down, so to speak, in terms of her views. And that made him realize, you know what? Maybe I ought to get a prenup. And as you can imagine, when he proposed that idea, didn't go very well. And you're going to see this whole downward spiral, how things happen. But ultimately, this guy stays strong, and he comes out on top. And ultimately, she's going to be pretty much literally begging on her hands and knees for him to take her back, give her a chance. And you'll see more of this. But a lot of important lessons in this story, guys, I'm going to point out along the way. But the main theme is that we control the keys to relationships. And ultimately, I don't care who it is, eventually they all want to have one day, and a guy they can marry, because they all want that magical day they can walk down the aisle and have all the attention and all that. I don't care who it is. So, it starts off, he says, "Hi SSM. I just watched your video. Girlfriend left him, now wants him back after being dumped by her lover. Amazing video, by the way, and it inspired me to reach out to you to share my own story. This story happened almost a year ago, but the ex is still trying to get back with me to this day. I want to share it to hopefully to motivate guys to focus on their purpose and to see what it really is important in life. Sorry in advance, as English is not my first language." Bro, you wrote this perfect. No problem there. He says, excuse me, guys. He says, "I am 31 years old, and I had a girlfriend. We'll call her Mia. She's 29. We've been together since 2014 and engaged in 2018. Back then, I was very B-pilled and let Mia take the reins on most of our daily activities with me covering the paycheck. Yeah, not a good idea. In other words, she was running the relationship. She was calling all the shots, and you were there paying for everything. No. As the man, you should be the leader. And guess what? She can also pay for things. And you're going to see here, guys, she's definitely someone that's big on equality. So it's not very equal if the dude is doing all the paying for things and she's not. But as I say all the time, they're all about equality until the bill comes or it's time to shovel some snow. He says, "Mia was an activist and a, wait for it, womanist. But I thought nothing of it because she never brought up politics in our relationship, and everyone I knew praised her for her views. Well, she didn't bring it up as of yet. But remember, she's youngish, wants to get married one day. Mark my words, if you married her, all of a sudden all those political views would probably come to the surface, because at that point, hey, we split up, I get half, I get alimony and all that, and you're going to see her mind is definitely in that area. I know a lot of gals that kept it quiet for years, and then in 2016 when Mr. T was elected as president, it all came out. It never stopped. He says, "It never really bothered me, but at the time, because I thought it was good and normal for women to be feminists, and by dating one, I was more of a man. But oh, how I was wrong." Yeah, that's the narrative nowadays, that you're a real man if you will be with a gal that is like that. You get that all the time from the media, news, movies, TV shows, songs. I mean, you get the point. School, all the time. A real man will tolerate that. Yeah, BS. I also own a manufacturing company, one that I inherited from my uncle when I turned 21 around 2010. We made and specialized PPEs, medical face masks, gloves, hazmat suits, and hand sanitizers for local diagnostic labs and hospitals. Well, dude, you must have made a fortune when COVID hit the world in 2020. He says, the business was actually struggling for many years, but I invested most of my paycheck to keep it afloat despite everyone, including Mia, telling me it was stupid to keep it around, but I persisted on it. Then when the pandemic hit, as you can imagine, my business flourished as there was a huge demand for PPEs. I'm glad you stood your ground and you saw the business had value and you invested in it to keep it afloat, and look how you paid off. And even though she was against it, it's your company. So you're going to do what you darn well please. So good for you. A lot of guys would have caved. They would have been like, okay, I'll sell off the assets. No, good for you, bro. You knew it would work out. Anyway, last year we were having an online Zoom party with some friends to catch up on life. One of our friends had asked Mia about her job and how she was going to earn money now. He says she had lost her job during her company's restructuring. And listen to this. He says that she was and I quote, a gender diversity officer in human resources. A gender diversity officer? That's actually her title? Does she walk around wearing a badge like a sheriff? What company is this? Is this California? You live in California, or I don't know, are you in Portland or Seattle, one of those liberal places? Gender diversity officer. Good Lord. Anyway, and she gave a very disgusting and disrespectful answer. She said that if all else fails, she'll divorce me and have me pay alimony for the rest of her life. While some of her female friends found it funny, me and all of my friends did not. Yeah, that's disrespectful. Remember, when people drink and say things, a lot of times that's kind of deep down with the way they think or feel. She was called out during the Zoom meeting by most of our friends, both male and female, as it was a very effed up thing to say, but she just blamed the drinks and told me to move on by saying thank you next in a very snarky, annoying manner. Yeah, blaming alcohol is always the thing. Girl cheats. Oh, it was the drinks. It's not my fault. That was my RP moment, and after the Zoom party, I confronted her about it. Good, I'm glad you didn't let that go. We had a very heated argument, and it ended with her leaving my apartment and slamming the door shut. Okay, drama queen. I'm glad you don't live together, by the way. After this, I started to consume RP content and talked to one of my friend's lawyers to write up a prenup to protect my assets. I was still in love with her, but soon she would show me her true colors. Good, get that prenup, but make sure, I've heard stories that guys have prenups, but then down the road they get divorced and the judge just says whatever and gives the gal, the wife or the ex-wife, what she wants anyway. So I've heard it's best to have her have hers, you have yours. It's not like she signed under duress, things like that. Any lawyers watching, please add to this. About a week of not talking to each other, we met up at her place to talk things over. So for a whole week, she wouldn't talk to you. Even though she was the one who was being an a-hole, and you had every right to call her on that. Situation was reversed, and you said, if you said something kind of equivalent to that, she'd have every right to be pissed at you. She apologized for saying the things that she said and asked it to be water under the bridge. Yeah, because she was the one acting like the a-hole, not the other way around. And how I was the only man her parents ever accepted, and that she envisioned a happy family of life together with me. Yeah, because her parents obviously realized that no other guy's going to want her. At this point, I had some RP knowledge and knew not to fall for her crocodile tears or her deception. So to prove that she really loved me for me, I presented her with a prenup. She had lost her mind when I brought it up. How dare you? You don't love me. You don't trust me. That's probably how it went. She told me that she would never cheat or leave me, and how this prenup made her feel like I was preparing for our marriage to fail. How many times have we heard that one? She argued that she was with me even before the business was successful, and that she had no interest in taking any assets. Yeah, sure. How many guys have heard that song and dance before, where then 10 years later they were just, why didn't I get the prenup, or why did I marry her? Don't fall for it. Prenup, prenup, prenup. You got a company. You got employees. I explained that I had seen a lawyer and was fully aware that she could divorce me and get half my assets, whether or not she verbally promised not to do so. And that would be even worse if we had children together. Cue the waterworks and her having a breakdown. She kept trying to tell me how she felt so betrayed. And she felt like she that she was just another business transaction. My love for her quickly faded away during this argument. So I told her, fine, no more prenup because there won't be a marriage anymore. Good for you, bro. I'm sure that wasn't easy because we can all joke around here, but at the end of the day, you were with her for a long time. You thought you were going to marry her, so I'm sure that wasn't easy. But you're seeing her true colors here. I walked out of her house with her trying to stop me. What have I told you guys about how powerful it is to walk away? Whether you're getting it, when it's a point where she's being outright just nasty or disrespectful, whether it's in the privacy of your own home or out in public, walk. Don't stand there and fight. Don't stand there and argue. Just walk. Nothing can make him more crazy than that. And look at the reaction. Miss Hardass here, chasing after him. I can imagine the scene. Afterwards, I informed everyone, my family and hers, about what had happened and why I did what I did. My family thinks that she was a moron for saying what she did during the Zoom meeting, and I got an apology letter from her mother asking me to give me a second chance. Dude, you got a letter from her mom? Was it like, please marry my daughter, no other guy will? What about her? Where was her letter? According to one of her cousins, her parents are immensely disappointed at her for ruining our relationship, and her older sister loves throwing the divorce line in her face during family gatherings. Well, that's rude. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think this gal, your former fiancé, is a bit of an a-hole, but still, that's not cool of her sister doing that. Again, another sign of pay attention to what the family's like. Mia tried to gain some sympathy on social media, but she was quickly shut down by her friends from the Zoom meeting, most of them commenting insulting her about the divorce plan. It's always the social media trick to get pity. Never ceases to amaze me. You know, I don't ever recall seeing guys do that type of crap. That was almost a year ago, and Mia still hasn't recovered from our breakup. I still get handwritten letters from her from time to time, and her friends keep saying that she is willing to get on her hands and knees to get back together. Well, what does she plan on doing when she gets on her hands and knees? That's what I want to know. I've been completely ignoring Mia since then and have blocked her everywhere. And yet she persists. Powerful thing walking away. It's funny how these types act like such hard asses, especially these types. You know what I'm talking about here. And when they think they have leverage, and the guy calls their bluff and walks away or ends the relationship, all of a sudden, night and day, all of a sudden that tough, hard ass type we all know about, F&S type, boom, all of a sudden, please, please, please. From where I come from, there is a term for a gal in their late 20s who are not married. The best translation I can give is a leftover. Mia has always berated women, leftover types, and has always told people that she would never become one. But because of her own actions, she realized her greatest fear. She brought it on herself. She had a good thing going with you. As for me, I've been RP'd since that moment, and I'm so done with long-term relationships. Thank you for taking the time to read my story, and I wish you a great day. Thank you, SSM. Well, you're welcome, bro, and thank you for sharing your story. And I'm really glad to hear that you stood your ground. There are a lot of guys, particularly guys that be in a relationship with a gal with a personality like that, they would not have the guts to stand up to her. So good for you. You know, a lot of times guys with gals like that are a lot more... When you get masculine women that are like what you described there, running the relationship and all, I was babbling on about politics and the patriarchy and stuff like that. Usually the guys are meek, weak guys, but you're clearly not. So I'm going to guess that probably she wasn't as bad as maybe I envisioned when I first read your story. But nevertheless, I'm really happy to hear you stood your ground and you walked away. And as a businessman, I'm also very proud of you. I think it's awesome that when you stood your ground with regards to the company and you kept it going because you could see its potential, and then you hit the jackpot when COVID happened. You know, so I hope things are going well, and the immense profits you got, you also reinvested in areas once things die down, the demand dies down for all that stuff. So, but anyway, I'm really proud of you for that. But good for you, man, for sticking to your guns and not tolerating that crap. Because imagine if you married her. I guarantee you that the second that ring went on her finger and you said, I do, all the political views and things like that, because she is the gender diversity sheriff of her company, all that would come out. And you'd be stuck. And then it wouldn't work out. She'd get half the assets, alimony forever like she was talking about. And like I said before, when it comes to alcohol, people say things or do things. That's a lot of times where they really think or feel. A lot of times that's when the true them comes out. So I'm sure, as obviously this situation wasn't easy, but you dodged a bullet, my friend. And so, good things come from bad situations. Now you got out of that, and now you have this knowledge. So my recommendation to you, friend, is just keep doing what you're doing. Focus on your purpose. If you truly love this company that you inherited and that you're running the show, man, keep growing it. Keep growing in new areas. Seek counsel from people that are smarter than you and see what you can really accomplish with your company and with the profits you make. And for yourself, invest it, grow, become wealthy. Focus on yourself. Focus on getting better every day. Hit the gym, work out, take care of yourselves, have a good time with your family and friends. And you obviously were a relationship guy. Now you said you're done with relationships long term for now, and I'm sure that's certainly understandable. But down the road, if you ever decide maybe I just want to try it again, remember what you learned. Remember what you learned with her. Remember what you learned watching channels and things you just learned over the years, and be very careful because life's interesting. You can make mistakes and then maybe learn from them. Sometimes life will put you in situations, this is my own experience, that will test to see if you really learned your lesson. So you could end up with another Mia in the future without even realizing it. I mean, I've seen people in life where they have girlfriends, break up with one, then they got another one, and then another one. And they all seem to have very similar personality traits. It's interesting. So just be aware of that. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. It is Friday, so I'm calling it a day. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, also, like I said before, if you have a really good personal story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, as well as great articles, crazy stories. Send it all over. And if it's definitely good, I will certainly do it one day down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.